morning and welcome to Comfort International Speaks on Maundy Thrusday of Holy Week 2020. It's very common when major global events take place for people to take scriptures and apply them to the current situation. And that's particularly true with catastrophes or disasters and suffering and the messages in scripture about God's wrath and punishment against mankind. This happened at 9/11. It happened when the Indian Ocean tsunami wreaked havoc, and you'll already have noticed with this current pandemic that people are trying to make links. But Paul warns us in his letter to the Romans that the revelation of God's wrath against sinful humanity is not something that's new. It's something that at his time of writing had been happening for 4 millennia, and from where we are 7 millennia after Adam and Eve, it has been happening for over 6,000 years. Having said that, a verse from Revelation that's been much on my mind recently is the first of the 7 bowls. John says, "No one could enter the temple until the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were completed. Then I heard a loud voice from the temple saying to the 7 angels, 'Go pour out the 7 bowls of God's wrath on the earth.' The first angel went and poured out his bowl on the land, and ugly and painful sores broke out on the people who had the mark of the beast and worshipped his image." Now, that bowl doesn't refer to this pandemic any more than it might refer to the previous 6 global pandemics, roughly about 600 years apart, over the last 2,500 years. But interestingly enough, we can make a link between the 6 and 7 days of creation, the 8 days of Holy Week from Palm Sunday to Resurrection Sunday, and the series of 7s in John's Revelation, the letters, the seals, the trumpets and the bowls, as much as they relate to 7,000 years of human history. Just as the creation took 6 days and the Lord rested on the 7th day when there was no evening and no morning, Luke tells us that Jesus was dedicated on the 8th day. And just as Jesus died on Good Friday on the 6th day and rested on the 7th day, he rose again from the dead on the 8th day. And just as we are in the 7th millennium of human history, with 6 having gone past since Adam and Eve, John tells us that after the 6th bowl, the 6th trumpet and the 6th seal, there is a pause, a hiatus before the 7th seals. And on Palm Sunday we were reading at home the verses where John talks about the great multitude. And this happens in between the 6th and the 7th seal. John says, "After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people and language, standing before the throne and in front of the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands, and they cried out in a loud voice, 'Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb.'" Now John is looking backwards to Palm Sunday, but he's also looking forward to a time beyond the 7th seal, beyond the 7th trumpet, beyond the 7th bowl, to an 8th day, an 8th millennium. And this is made possible because Jesus took the punishment for us. He took God's bowls of wrath for us at Easter. Isaiah tells us that he took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows. Yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. We all like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. So because of that, because of Easter, John can look beyond the seals, beyond the trumpets, beyond the bowls, and we can too, to the 8th day, the 8th millennium, where we will be with Jesus again. We will be before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will spread his tent over them. Never again will we hunger. Never again will we thirst. The sun will not beat down upon us, nor any scorching heat or plague. For the Lamb at the centre of the throne will be our shepherd. He will lead us to springs of living water, and God will wipe every tear from our eyes.